you know, I really want to make sure it was. Well, first of all, I should say I kind of wanted to wait a while in between the first one of these videos and this one. But because I got so wrapped up in that project this year, I really wasn't able to talk about it. In fact, to be perfectly honest, I'd forgotten about it. But seeing as how I've been making videos for 300 days now, and seeing as how the other day I talked about my cross country days and how it ultimately led to me doing 4 marathons so far, I think I should also talk about the individuals who inspired me to work as hard as I did in order to get to that level of athleticism. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I showed you the 16 of the right, and now I show the 16 of the left. These individuals right here. See, this would be right, and this is the left. So, actually, hold on a second. I gotta hold you steady. There we go. So, yes. So, I mentioned before that for the 16 of the right, they were coaches that inspired me to, work out hard. Make sure that I gained the discipline and knowledge to be able to prepare myself, not just for athletic events, but real life in general. These individuals, however, were the very teammates I had the pleasure of knowing and competing with or playing with or whatever that, inspired me to try hard every day. Every single one of these individuals has performed a feat or has a story of redemption or a story of technically revenge that inspires me to be who I am every day. And again, I never name names, but initials, going alphabetical order by last name, they are key. They are fair game, I should say. So, a couple of these are a little emotional for me, as some of them are no longer with us. So, with that said, SB. This individual actually was one of my brothers from Trinity-Pawling. I actually dedicated a video to him on his birthday well back in March. And the dedication was there because he is one of my brothers who is no longer with us. He was one of my teammates for cross country. And so he actually came later on during the season. And believe it or not, he took off like a jackrabbit. I mentioned the other day that I had to fight tooth and nail to make the top 7, and this guy was one of the reasons why he was that fast. Although I would also like to point out that he had an afro, and an afro makes any individual 50 times more powerful. I just want to point that out right now. What can I say? Afros are cool. So, but his real niche was basketball. He was a fantastic basketball player. He could score 3-pointers like it was nobody's business. So, it's going to be a relatively long video, so I better keep going. So, this individual is another one of my brothers who is no longer with us. He was actually one of my wrestling teammates. And what was really special about him was he was just the nicest, most genuine person in the room. Like, you could talk to this guy. He was great for conversation. He'd always make you smile. And when we all found out that he had passed away, my brothers and I, it really hit us all hard. So, and he was actually, when I was this is my PG year, and he was a sophomore, so he was significantly younger than me. But I knew right away that in terms of Trinity-Pawling athletics at the time, he definitely would have been the future. So, there you go. Now, KC. It's actually a girl I knew doing track at Gettysburg College. And I'm just going to point this out right now. This girl was awesome at what she did. She was a hurdler, and her freshman year, she went to nationals. And get this, her senior year for spring track, she won the whole enchilada. That's right, national champion in hurdles. Her senior year. She literally ended her senior year at Gettysburg College on quite possibly the highest note you could ever hope to have, which is awesome. I wouldn't be surprised if she ended up being one of the track captains, but because, again, she was significantly younger than I am. And it's actually been a while since I've been to Gettysburg College, which I really should work on that. So, there you go. She, again, champion hurdler. Can't beat that. Now, TD. No, it does not stand for touchdown. But that would kind of be awesome. This individual was actually the cross-country captain the first time I did cross-country at Gettysburg College. And since then, he's gone on to do great things. He's, gone on to win half marathons and place really high in full marathons. This guy is one of those individuals who was running personified. And speaking of which, JD was actually a freshman when I was a senior at Gettysburg College. And he and I were like huge fans of Regular Show to the point where whenever we'd see each other, we'd be like, "Whoa!" If you watch Regular Show, you would know what that means. But yeah, this individual right here, JD, he actually won the Gettysburg Marathon. Yeah, he was that awesome. And he's the nicest guy, and I wouldn't be surprised if he inspired a lot of other individuals at Gettysburg College for the sake of running cross country and track to become great as well. So, that's awesome. Now, no, your eyes do not deceive you. There are two individuals with the exact same initials. They just happen to have the exact same initials. Now, the first one is one of my brothers who sadly is no longer with us. He actually also ran cross country with me, and was another reason why I had to fight tooth and nail to make the top 7 at Trinity-Pawling. Actually, before I continue on, I should probably mention there are some certain criteria that I follow for every single one of these individuals. And one of them is, and two of them is, I have to know you, and you'd have to be like my teammate, obviously. But, anyway, so, the first AE, one of my brothers, who ran cross country with me at Trinity-Pawling, and his real niche was, he was a fantastic lacrosse player. Oh yeah. He actually had passed away before I had an opportunity to see him play, but that is something that I would have liked to have seen, but I got to know him as an individual, and he was always a really nice guy. He actually laughed at one of my jokes once, which I'll get into that another time during cross country, so that was really cool. The second AE, okay, now this individual was actually a wrestler I knew at Gettysburg College. He was actually a year older than, he was the same age as me, but remember, I took a postgraduate year at Trinity-Pawling, so he was a year ahead of me in terms of, grades. And he went from literally his sophomore year, where literally he was found drunk, face flat, in the snow, and had to be sent to the emergency room. and this was his sophomore year. When he was a senior, he lost in the Centennial Conference final match in wrestling. He literally went from the bottom to practically at the top. No, he didn't win, but, to go from, face flat in the snow to losing in the final, that's a huge improvement by any stretch of the imagination. That couldn't be any more inspiring if you tried. That's great. So, there you go. LH. Ooh. This guy inspired practically an entire generation of horseheads athletes to get out there and use the weight room and do sports all year. Like, I once made a video that I should probably do a redux of what would happen if horseheads had a prefect system like Trinity-Pawling had. Without question, this guy would have been the head prefect. I'm not kidding. He totally would have been. That's actually something I'll get into a little bit later in this video, but he was my teammate in football. And again, he actually would have been, he was like literally on the cusp of being a Division I athlete for playing football. He was our running back and literally one of the strongest individuals I had the pleasure of knowing. And a nice personality to match. He was that awesome. So, if I'm reading correctly... Oh, MJ. Okay. For MJ, she was my teammate for, cross country and track. But what she did can be summed up in 2 words. Beat cancer. You heard correctly. She beat cancer. She had cancer and she beat it. That is awesome. I don't need to say anything else. But, yeah, there you go. CJ. Sorry. Oh, right, CJ. He was actually my another one of my brothers from Trinity-Pawling who, don't worry, he's alive. He was actually from Chicago. And he actually does, mixed martial arts. And as well as he now has a wife and children, too. So, that's awesome. And, he was a nice guy. He was always really cool to talk to. In fact, he would always hang out with my roommate and I in our room. We just let him in. He was that awesome. But he was my teammate in track, and he did wrestle, a little bit, but that's really because our coach asked him to do it. He didn't really, stick around for very long, but, again, he was really cool. He actually would have played football at Trinity-Pawling, but, again, you can only have 4 PGs, and, they already picked out their 4, but he did play soccer for Trinity-Pawling, and from what I heard, he was pretty decent at it, so there you go. CL, okay. I also mentioned a while back that, again, the whole what if horseheads had a prefect system, this guy would have been one of... CL, he would have been one of the prefects. I am positive he would have been one of the prefects, for sure. He was actually my teammate for track, and he was one of the cross-country and track captains at Horseheads. Actually, I don't think Horseheads really had captains for track, but if we did, he would have been one of them, for sure. And one amazing feat about him, he's actually a very famous piano player now. He's like really, really good. In fact, for a talent show, it was him, the best saxophone player in the area, and the best trumpet player in the area. And the best trumpet player in the area, duct taped his hands to his trumpet. The best saxophone player, duct taped himself to the floor playing the saxophone. And this guy, the piano player, who was also my teammate for track and cross country, he actually played the piano blindfolded. And he was that darn good. So there you go. Sorry, I'm trying to. Oh, another cross country and track runner, TM. he actually, he was a year younger than I am. And he, again, also ran, cross country and track. And he's one of the fastest individuals, as well as one of the nicest individuals I'd ever had the pleasure of knowing. And an amazing feat that this individual did is he actually won the Red Baron Half Marathon the year I tried to run it. And I can only imagine what other races he's won since that very day. He's a nice guy and incredibly fast. In fact, I once wondered what would happen if the fastest individuals from Horseheads and the fastest individuals of TP ran a race against each other. That would be awesome. But yeah, these two are CL and TM. Two of the fastest guys I ever knew at Horseheads. With nice personalities to match. Anyway, is it KM? Yeah, it's KM. Okay. Now, this is a story of both revenge and redemption, because this guy was a senior at Horseheads when I was a freshman. And I had actually just started wrestling at the time. And it was the weekend of the Elmira Free Academy Christmas tournament where he had gotten injured. Now, one of his opponents from Corning said, oh, he got injured, so he would avoid wrestling me. That is the one thing you should never do. Because that's the sort of thing where you are just asking for a whooping if you see that individual again. And KM, he got to wrestle that kid from Corning. He did. In the sectional final. And he won. He got to go to states by beating the guy in the final who said, he got the injury to avoid wrestling me. Seriously, that is like the most awesome thing. That's like Django Unchained levels of like revenge, That's awesome. So there you go. Let's see what else. MM. Ooh. He was if Horseheads had a prefect system, he would have been the head prefect my senior year. Most likely. He was my teammate in football, and easily one of the strongest individuals I'd ever known. I like to think I was among the upper echelon of athleticism by the time I graduated from Horseheads. But where I was, if I'm, up here, this guy was, a step above everybody else. But, again, he was just a really nice guy, and I think he actually got to play football for Towson. I believe he's Division I AA. So, yeah. He was an incredible athlete, and, again, a real inspiration for everyone. Ooh. I said I made these alphabetical order by last name, but never once did I think that these two individuals went up together, MM and SS, because SS is actually I'll save SS for the very end, but the RS was it's alphabetical order by last name, but just RS just happens to be next in line. Just because of, the second letter in the last name. Anyway, RS was my teammate in wrestling. And he actually, went into the military. He has a wife now. He actually does a little bit of mixed martial arts as well. And he seriously has the most... again, I never name names so as I don't embarrass or offend anyone. But if I told you his name, it'd be like the most action hero / military sounding name ever. I'm not even kidding. So, yeah. Great wrestler, great friend, someone to talk to. He actually did talk to me a while back, which is really cool. Anyway, so back to SS. This individual was one of my brothers at Trinity-Pawling. But not just anyone. He was the captain of the football team, the track team. He was our head prefect at the time. He's still alive. And he actually got to play football for Stanford. And keep in mind, I'm 28 right now, and I graduated Trinity-Pawling when I was 19. So, if you paid any attention to Stanford football in those 5 years from when I was from 2009 to 2013, then you might have an idea who this guy is. But I'm just saying for a fact, this guy right here, he was our head prefect. He was our leader. He was our generalissimo. He was one of the strongest, nicest individuals that I ever had the pleasure of knowing. And after he played football for Stanford, he actually got drafted to the San Francisco 49ers and got to be on their practice squad. And right now, he's promoting football, down in Mexico, where he actually grew up for a little while. In fact, if I recall correctly, when his family moved to Mexico, his parents lived on the more Spanish-speaking side to get more ingrained into the culture. And I should also take a moment to say that his mother is no longer with us. May she rest in peace. But right now he's promoting football down in Mexico. But I mentioned that LH would come into play around later this time in the video. No kidding. LH and SS talked and sounded exactly like each other. I'm not even kidding. Like, if you were to hear, say, SS, if you were to close your eyes and hear, say, SS speak, you would have sworn LH was in the room. And vice versa. They sounded that much alike. Obviously, they didn't look alike, where LH was white and SS was mixed. His mother was black and his father was white. Again, his mother's no longer with us. May she rest in peace. But, yes, these are the 16 individuals that inspired me, to get up every day, be the best I can be. You guys know I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. And one word that the Dallas Cowboys stand by is fight. Fight. Fight to do their job. Fight to uphold the standard. Fight for each other. These individuals embody that in a way that I can never describe in just words. I couldn't hope to do that. So, yes. To those individuals who are alive and maybe watching this, thank you for the inspiration. Thank you for having my back in those times, and thank you for being the best you could be at that time. And thank you for being around. Because you guys motivate me and inspire me to get up every day and be the best I can be. So, thank you. Thank you very much. And wow, this video got slightly emotional and kind of long, so I should probably end it before I ramble on too much. So, like, favorite, share, hit that subscribe button. I could really use the support on YouTube. Follow me on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, the social media platforms. You guys know I'm going to be chilling at all the time. And as always, I'm very humbled that I made this video for all of you guys to watch and enjoy for today. I'm hopeful that we all have a wonderful Saturday. This really is kind of funny. I would make day 300 a video about the 16 of the left. But, yeah. So, again, I'm very humbled I made this video for all of you guys to watch and enjoy for today. I'm very hopeful that we all have a wonderful Saturday. It's really rainy right now, but just because it's raining doesn't mean it's all bad. Although, it could be a very bad sign that winter's coming. We just got over the cold, man. I don't want to be cold anymore. Anyway, and just so you know, if any of you guys ever want to talk to me or chat with me, I'm always going to be here to lend an ear. And I'm always going to have your back. In the same way that these individuals always had mine. So, take care, everybody. Although, one thing I should tell you right now, yesterday, I got my costume for Halloween! Alright! Take care.